name's Jan Marino. The name of this show is Take the Lead with Jan Marino, and today I'm really happy to have Howard Tullman as my guest today. And Howard is the CEO of 1871, which is a technology, how do I explain that?
We call it a digital incubator for startups.
There you go. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
And I've done a lot of reading. I think you've noticed that I've retweeted a lot of stuff because I've been doing a lot of research about you. And so there were some questions that had come up that I wanted to kind of get your take on based on all of the things that you've done. First of all, people, I think, wonder, how do you stay creative? How do you stay, in front of all this stuff that's happening?
Well, I've been lucky to do something different about every 5 or 6 years. So that gives you a chance to sort of refresh and take on different challenges, whether it's the last 10 years have been mostly education before 1871. So that was starting with Kendall College, which was really transforming something that was 75 years old and failing, and then we ended up that decade with Tribeca Flashpoint, which was starting a brand new 2-year digital high-end vocational college for film and broadcast and things like that. So in that 10 years, we tried to re-envision education, which, if there's 2 areas in this country that desperately need help with technology and change, it would be education and healthcare.
Yes, exactly. So when you talk about healthcare, what do you see as a trend? What do you see coming down the road?
So the good news is I don't talk about healthcare because that's exclusively the preserve of my brother.
Okay.
So I try to stay away from anything that has flesh attached to it, other than people. I'm willing to deal with people. So he does medicine and health IT and all of those areas.
Okay.
And I don't.
Okay.
So I do education, media, technology, large data, computer game development, all those kinds of things.
Okay.
And film.
All right.
And music.
Okay. Great. Have you heard Leonard Cohen's new?
I haven't heard his new CD, but I know him. I know that he's severely talented and
severely talented is a great way to put
equally
it.
depressed fellow.
He is.
Yes, he is.
And it's. I wish. Well, I don't know what he's taking, but if he would share it with the rest of us, don't you think that?
I don't know. I don't think he's a happy person, but he's a very talented person.
Very talented person. All right, I have one question that I've been thinking about. I was up all night, and I know that sounds insane, but I was.
Okay.
So I was thinking about if you could give advice to 3 people. Okay. So the first piece would be to a boy who's graduating from high school. What piece of advice would you give him?
Well, I would say that he should go to college.
Okay.
That's first. And then I think he should go to work for someone who he can learn from. That would be my advice to a boy graduating from college.
Okay. What about a girl who's graduating from high school?
Well, I think it's the same advice. We don't differentiate.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the interesting things is we've been recently doing projects with young women in junior high and high school around STEM, science and technology and art.
Right.
And we're seeing, if anything, more opportunities and more interest, and it's about time because it's been pretty stagnant for the last decade or so.
Right.
In terms of women moving into technology jobs, I think in the exact same way that technology is less expensive and more accessible, that's the case for men and women, and so it's pretty encouraging. We just did a project with Commonwealth Edison, and a bunch of their engineers were some 7th grade women built these electric cars out of refrigerators, and we had a big icebox derby and built a track at the Field Museum, and the president of ComEd, who's a terrific woman, got very excited about this and said she was really looking forward to doing more things around innovation and around sort of entrepreneurs and things.
Yeah, that's great. I know my niece, when she was in the 6th grade, a teacher took her aside and said, "You have what it takes to be an engineer."
Mhm.
And so she took that seriously, and she's now an engineer.
Oh, that's great.
So it is great. It is great. And then the last question for you would be, what would your advice be to someone who is in their 60s, thinks that they're going to retire, and then figures out, you know what, I don't want to retire. What advice would you give them?
First of all, I would say, that first I would be more concerned about somebody in their 40s who thought they were going to change their career. They definitely
Mhm.
need some technology help and support and to understand this new world. I think somebody in their 60s, there are so many opportunities to keep learning. We have some friends who've developed an online culinary program.
Right.
60 is a very rich age these days in the sense that, these are affluent people, they have a lot of spare time, they tend to be educated, and they want to do something new, whether it's, learn to be a pastry chef or take up, art or some of these things.
Right.
So, and a lot of them are giving back. We have about 1,000 mentors at 1871. And they come and they work with these companies, and I think they think it keeps them young, and it certainly keeps them thinking about new approaches and new ways to do things.
Yeah, that's great. And I see where the millennials and baby boomers, I think, have a lot to give to each other. Do you find that to be true?
Yeah. I would say that more and more the older generations understand how easy some of these inexpensive technologies have made the things that used to cost us a lot of time and a lot of money to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the younger generation, having grown up in it, doesn't really appreciate that. They
Yeah.
just sort of, they're like fish in water,
Yeah.
They've never known anything different, so they think it's a given, but we think of it as a real set of opportunities. It used to be very expensive to reach people and measure how you were communicating with them and do all these kinds of things, and now it's trivial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's much easier. So, one last question.
Sure.
Okay, one last question. Because you and I are about the same age, and I was thinking the other day, in my
You're
lifetime,
much younger than I
I'm really not.
am. Okay,
I'm not.
okay.
However, comma,
See, you can't compliment her if you try. What can I say? Okay.
much younger.
Okay,
No,
all right.
just kidding. So let me ask you. In my lifetime, I'm thinking there's been some really wonderful things that have been invented and have come out there. In your, for you, what is that one thing that's just like, wow? It's like an aha. You know what I mean?
Well, I think we don't call them phones anymore. I would say we call them mobile trackers. But I think the idea that we're all mobile and connected to a whole world of information.
Yeah.
We think, we don't let people say, I don't know anymore
Right.
at 1871 because it means you're lazy. It doesn't mean you don't know. It means you didn't take the time to go look and find whatever it is, and everything is there. Everything
Yeah.
can be found and looked up and researched. And so just the idea that you have to be and you can be a lifelong learner
Right.
and keep improving your skills and pursuing other areas is really the most exciting thing. It's just all the information is out there now.
Great. Well, listen, we really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming and spending time with us, and everyone knows that they can get a hold of you via 1871.
Sure.
Your,
Sure.
and I know you're not going to give us out your.
It's just my initial. It's not that complicated. It's just H at 1871. That's how it works.
But
So,
thank you,
yeah.
thank you so
Good. Well,
much.
I'm glad to be here.
We really appreciate
Good.
it. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you.